What's up guys, and welcome to this first look at Tomb Raider on the PC, running of course on the max settings. Let's start off by taking a look at the graphics options. As you can see, there are many. You've got things resolution, refresh rate, all the standard stuff. You've also got the things I quite like to see now for people with multiple monitors. It makes it a lot easier to get it on the right monitor. But we've also got the stuff we like, which is in the advanced tab. So we've got quality, ultimate, we've got ultra, but we've also got ultimate as well. So all sorts of options are going to keep you happy. Now this is about an hour, maybe an hour and a half in. It's not really spoilerific, but it is a single player story game, so I guess you could say technically everything's a spoiler, but I've cut it to a minimum amount of story and more gameplay. So Lara's just got the bow, just got the gun, and she's just really starting to realise that in order to survive, then she's going to have to fight her own corner. And so we're still learning all the basics. This is the first time we've had to do some climbing, and if you played Uncharted before, then it is fairly similar, okay? Now, Uncharted, for those who haven't played it, is heavily cinematic. The camera angles, everything is like a film that you can play, and it does it really well. Now, obviously, there was a lot of inspiration in Uncharted from Tomb Raider, and now this is Tomb Raider taking inspiration from Uncharted. And I am very pleased to say that the game feels very, very different and unique in a good way, and it also feels very different to the other Tomb Raider games, but in a good way. So, there's a cutscene coming up, so I'll let you watch it.
Roth, I'm coming! Thank God you're alive.
Now, God's got nothing to do with it. It's good to see you two, girl.
Sorry, they did a real number on your leg.
No, looks worse than it is.
Have you heard from any of the others?
Nothing.
Wait, what are you doing?
The wolves took my food pack. The transmitter from the lifeboat's in it. If we don't get that back, we're not getting off this bloody island.
You need bandages, morphine, antiseptic.
Also in the pack.
Shit.
Exactly. Come here. Come on. Oh.
Oh no. No! Oh, don't do this to me, you northern bastard. Okay. Thank God he's still alive. Wolf tracks. Oh God, what am I doing? Up there somewhere.
So, as you can probably tell, the game looks absolutely fantastic. It really does actually. It looks a lot better than the previous Tomb Raiders. It's got this new hair called Tress FX in it, which does a good job of making the hair look good. It doesn't look necessarily 100% real, but it definitely does look a bit better than the standard hair, so that's worth turning it on. That's available for all GPUs, not just AMD GPUs. Now, the gameplay is very, very good. Now, it is fairly similar to the other Tomb Raiders in the sense that you've got to do a lot of climbing and a lot of fighting, but it's a bit more different because it is more cinematic. It is trying to do something a little bit different. It is a reboot after all, and it does succeed. I think the thing I like most about the gameplay so far is that whenever you play any sort of game where you've got to do climbing, it's always been, when you are climbing, it's quite obvious where you've got to climb. So you have like those white bits hanging out of walls, and it's very obvious where you've got to climb. Now, there are some things like that in here where you've still got those white ledges that will show you where to go, but for the most part it's a lot more well disguised. So things like jumping up a wall, you can jump up walls by like vaulting off them by double tapping X or space if you're playing with the keyboard, but I like to use the controller. So the climbing is very good, and I think it's the best that I've seen in any game for a while. Now the exploration is also good because it's more of a realistic sort of world. So what I mean by that is when you're exploring to find like collectibles and stuff, it feels a lot more natural to find them. They're not placed in some like really obscure place where it takes a lot of effort to get it out and it's clearly just there to house a collectible. They're a lot more well hidden and in places that you'd expect if you were going to find this rare relic to actually be. But a lot of the gameplay is about exploration and finding salvage. Now salvage is the currency used in this game to upgrade your stuff. You get XP for doing different stuff, and the salvage you will find in crates around the place, and then you use this salvage to upgrade your axe, your bow, your gun, and it's quite a nice system and it works very well actually. The story of course is linear, but the game world itself is fairly open. You can find camps and then you use these camps to fast travel around, and there are places that you can't go to now in the game but you'll be able to come back later and explore once you've got the necessary tools. I've got to say I've been very engaged by the story so far, and realistically all that's happened is that we've been stranded on an island, so it's been done very, very well. And the whole point is that this is a Lara that hasn't done any exploration or archaeology before. This is more her first time out in the field, and you can really tell that she's a woman that's quite broken, and this is all very new to her, and she doesn't really like it. I mean, no one would want to have to kill a man in cold blood, but she's had to do that, and you can see that's affecting her. And it's all about the journey from her being this broken woman to this really strong archaeologist that we all know and, well, we all love. Not everything's been a positive experience so far, however. When you launch the game, you get a launcher, and then this launcher can be used to click play game, download extra cutscenes, and you can go into an options menu before you launch the game. This options menu does not work for me at all. It just crashes, and I have never been able to change the options through this launcher. It's not the end of the world, but it's pretty annoying. If you have a GTX 670, then apparently there are issues specifically with your card, and you may get random crashes from time to time, which is of course very naff. Now, very quickly, while we're in this cave at the moment, this is a cave that I cannot explore at the moment, so I'll have to come back later once I've got the climbing axe, as it will tell me inaccessible tomb, please come back later. There have also been problems across the board with the exclusive full screen option, and the way that I figure it and the way that I've got around it is that if you launch it on one monitor, then you cannot play it on the other monitor until you've turned exclusive full screen off. Hopefully this will be fixed in a future patch, but it is quite annoying. But apart from that, the game's been very good. It did crash for me once, I'm afraid to say, but I could just relaunch it and it saves very often, so I was able to get back in. So not the greatest game in the form of stability, but they can patch that. But other than that, it's been a very good PC version, and all the controls work well, but I use a controller just because I like using a controller with any sort of third-person game. Now, you get sequences like this all the time that are very, very nice, and they're pretty seamless. It goes in and out, and it also gives you a chance to see the hair technology in action and the level of detail in the graphics in her face, which are very, very good. All the sequences are acted using the motion capture suits, so they do look very realistic. And here you can see these are the sort of quick time events you get, which in this sort of game is fine. This sort of game I have no problem with because it's all about suspense and it's all about doing the quick time events quickly. What I do have a problem with is when they are put into first person shooters, because pressing RT to fire a rocket launcher in a quick time event is pants, and it's not the same sort of game. So that's why I'm saying it works in this sort of game, because this is the sort of game it should be in. Now, your torch is very useful in this game. You light them with any source of fire and you can use them to burn things down, activate traps, or just progress through the game by blowing stuff up. So if you see on the right here, the torch has gone out because obviously I had to let go of it, but I'd be able to get that salvage down if I had a torch. So here you see there's one of those little white things that I hate that showed me where I well, how I could climb up. I could climb up by jumping up there, which I don't necessarily approve of, but they're a lot less than in other climbing games, so it's the way forward. It's very good. So we're going back to base camp here, and I will leave you there. So thank you for watching my, well, first look. It's called Why Should You Play? Because you should play it. I'm having a great time with it, and it seems very good. And if you're a Tomb Raider fan, I imagine you'll have it already. But if you're not a Tomb Raider fan, really, this is a great time to get into it. It's a really good game. I'll bring you more on it later in the week, but please buy it.